Welcome back. Imperfect Parenting. Ben and Brittney Serpell here. Just hanging out together again as much as possible.
These are not our date nights. You know that, right?
Yeah. It's just we're together. Just want to make sure people are aware that I'm happy we're together.
That we're here
again,
together.
Doesn't matter where we are, what we're doing. Just happy to be around you. All right, this is a parenting podcast. Sorry. We're back.
It is. I always love how you compliment me every podcast. and I just love it. I'm like, if anyone hasn't guessed, Ben is a words of affirmation.
Yes, this is true.
So, and
I'm seeing across from you, looking in your eyes.
Here we go.
And move on. I'll stop. She says, here we go. Are you done yet?
He's going to do it again. You love me. I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah. But we have a meme to talk about.
Get it?
Okay. I'm pretty sure this is from Frozen 2.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because I don't think that Elsa left the castle previous to Frozen 2.
I appreciate your knowledge.
Well, I wish I could let it go, but it's stuck. It's stuck.
And there's the meme.
Yeah.
Moving on. That was good.
Okay. So it is Anna who is just cannot believe what she's seeing. Her eyes are as wide as they can get, which is shocking because Disney already made her eyes huge. But her mouth is wide open with a huge smile. She's just so excited with the anticipation of what she's seeing. Elsa, however, is slightly horrified. And the weight of, oh my gosh, what in the world is kind of what's on her face. So what it says, there are only two reactions when a relative brings a gigantic gift for your kids into the house. Kids, Anna.
Super excited.
Anna's face. Parents, Elsa's face.
Oh boy.
Uh-huh. Which is kind of funny because we have this funny story.
Reminds of us a story.
Mm-hmm. Wes. I don't know how do you say your last name?
Codis.
Yes. Wes is a friend of Ben's. And the long story short, Ben went to Alaska. He ended up shooting a bear that was trying to attack him.
Mm-hmm. That's
another story, another day. I don't know when we'll tell that one, but he's alive and well. He made it out. Bear did not.
Nope.
But Wes was with you on this. And I don't know why he thought this was funny.
Well, he had done this once before.
Yeah.
With some other friends.
And somehow it translated.
And so he thought, I'm going to do it again, but this makes even more sense.
Because Ben shot a bear. So you weren't there when it arrived, but I was. So the doorbell rings. Our children are probably 12 and under.
Mm-hmm.
So like 12, 8 and then
6.
Yeah, something like that.
Math is hard when we're doing other things.
I'm going backwards too.
12 by 6. There we go.
Somewhere right in there. So they are all very aware of when a gigantic package shows up. So the doorbell rings. I open the door, and there's a package standing up that's taller than me.
Probably a 6-foot box by 3 feet wide at least.
Yeah. And I'm looking at this thinking, did we order a refrigerator?
Yeah.
A giant refrigerator?
It's
a refrigerator for Shaq? What is happening right now?
Is his food bigger? He needs a bigger?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has 2 gallons
Got it.
of milk instead of 1 gallon. I don't know. Anyways, I'm looking at this thing, trying to figure out what in the world, because it's addressed to you. And I know our finances. I'm like, what in the world could this possibly be? I wrestle it into the house, shimmying it, and the kids are just jumping around me like, what is it, Mom? What is it? And I'm trying to figure this out. And then at the corner, it's starting to split open, so they've taped it, and I can see fur. And immediately, I know what it is. And I'm angry. Because I cannot believe this thing is in my house.
It is this meme right here.
Yeah. So I called you, and I'm trying. Once you got home, you opened it, and you could see who it's from.
And he'd been texting me like, hey, there's a gift coming for you. There's a gift coming. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. So because I knew what it was, and it was close to Christmas, I'm like, I'm going to use this to my advantage. So I wrapped that sucker in Christmas paper, and it sat in our entryway for like a month. and maybe even longer. And we let them open it on Christmas Eve, which we said this from Uncle Wes. And they're like, who is that? I'm like, yeah, exactly. You've never met him before. And revealed was
a 7-foot stuffed toy bear.
Yeah.
That they could like sleep on.
Yes.
Like a mattress.
Yeah.
It was huge.
It's massive.
It was funny. And then it was annoying.
Horrible. Getting that thing up the stairs, that was awful. And then another thing that we kind of did, we were those people and we passed it on.
Oh, brought so much joy to my heart.
So Rob and Laura, I'm glad you love us still. But we
re-gifted it.
In the back of
much to their surprise. We put it in the back of his truck at church one day. I think Laura's still mad.
She's still maybe a little mad. But Zane loves it, so it's great. Anyways, they could have set a boundary with us, but they didn't. But that's our meme and the funny story that goes with it that feels very accurate. To that moment. But we know that a lot of parents are probably headed towards the summer. So your kids are going to have lots of free time. Mm-hmm. And another question that we get around boundaries is the boundary of technology and how to manage that. Sometimes even with schoolwork, like how do we get things accomplished and how do you navigate that well with the phones, iPads, and all that stuff? And where do you start? What's the boundary? And everybody has their own opinion. So I do think that you should lean in and kind of assess what feels best for your family. Because some people don't do any of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Great. We're not one of those family. We do the stuff. So you just have to figure out what feels best for you.
Yeah. Yeah. With Delaney, when I think about her, it's at first, and we were learning, trying to figure it out and trying to navigate it well. She probably got a phone earlier than we wanted to.
I think she got a phone. I think she was 13.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe I think she had something like felt like a phone at 12 because she was walking home from school, and then she got a phone with all permission. It was restricted internally, but still had all the access. And then, yeah, Delaney wasn't ready for a phone when she got one. That's what we learned.
Yeah, and every child's different. But yeah, we had to learn a little bit with her as she's learning. Like, okay, you weren't ready for it, and you need to actually grow your internal world some more so you can handle something this powerful.
Yeah. I remember watching an interview with a doctor that just talked about there's nothing wrong with the process of, can you handle this much freedom? You can't. Okay. Well, let's see when you can. Okay, let's try it again. Like there's the opportunity to give back.
Yeah.
But I think the main point he was trying to make is that you're seeing growth in them before you give permission again. Yeah. It's not just that they annoyed you and that's why you gave in. It's that you're actually seeing growth, that you can handle it. And I think those were all the different times. As we saw some growth.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not quite ready.
Yeah.
But
I think one of the big things for us in our house is it's the connection with your siblings and your parents, and you doing a good job with your responsibilities. When those things start to wane, and it feels like you're giving more time to technology, to TV, to phone, to iPad, whatever it is, that's often an indicator like, hey, this needs to be way down the list for you. Yeah. These are things that are really important to us, and when they start losing importance, that's a problem.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about that? Because if you'd like my help, I have lots of ideas on how to help you.
Addie is doing a technology class or something like that. She asked me to grade her on how she handles her technology, and I'm like, I'm never worried about what you're doing on there because honestly, she loves the Bible app and highlighting verses or clever ways to journal. I mean, those are the things that she's doing, or she's on it with her friends. And they're really amazing group of friends. So there's no concern of what she's doing. I don't feel like she's ever hiding. I told her, I gave you a C minus, I think I gave it, or C, something like that. She was shocked at it. It's probably the only grade C she's ever gotten. I said, because I think that you sometimes choose to go up and do those things more than you would choose to be around us. And I think if we pushed on it, you'd be like, oh, it's not a big problem at all, but she just loves it. It's such a huge hobby for her, and design and different things that she's really interested in. And I know that. And so I just said, that's a feedback since you're asking. But it's kind of we have enough of a connection where we can she asked more questions and we clarified, and she asked, do you need anything from me? And I'm like, well, just be aware of it, because that's exactly what you're saying. When it starts to affect your relationship with me, your brother and sister, and your responsibilities of getting your schoolwork done, then it becomes a problem. Yep. And she did just poorly manage some of her time not very long ago with school and was really struggling. It was a reflection of how are you managing your time? Yep. And I think she was the first one to say, like, I've been on my iPad too much. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and I want this thing, even in my own life. I mean, starting with me, I want this to be a tool, not a master. And I think that's with my children too. Like when this becomes something that's beginning to rule you, or you have to have, okay, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And we have other friends who have navigated this even with their little kids on even access to a computer or iPad very, very carefully and slowly, just because of the power these little screens can have.
Yeah, I don't feel like we had to navigate that quite as much when our kids were little, because the thought of ever giving a full access iPad, I don't know. I mean, Lincoln got an iPad for long trips, or we had a car that had a
DVD.
Yeah.
They miss that still.
Yeah, which is weird. I don't know if we could find that now. But our kids just didn't ever have iPads when they were little, because it was just a different season of life, where now it's the normal. The new normals that are changing are interesting, of how much sooner you get access to having a phone, how much sooner you get access to having, the educational apps. I get it, but they still create these addictive tendencies.
That's right.
Of where we're constantly stimulating somebody, and I'm like, oh, let the imagination happen. Yep. I don't know how to cultivate imagination on a screen very well. I just don't. I mean, I know that people create worlds and games, like Lincoln loves Minecraft for that, but at a younger age, I just personally don't know how to do that.
Hey, it's Brittney here. I'm normally on the Kylo Show, yes, but I wrote a book. I wrote a book for parents, but I talk a lot about moms. So if you're listening to this and you're a mom who's frustrated, who feels like you're failing, who feels hopeless in this game of parenting that we're in, I want to invite you to read my book. It comes out Mother's Day this year, and I picked that day on purpose because I know that church is attended the most on Mother's Day. And I've met with so many moms out there that want to do this well. And so do I, which is why I wrote this book. I know that connection is the goal, and perfection just gets in the way. So if that's you, mom, buy yourself this gift on Mother's Day. It's going to be worth it. So I hope that you feel blessed and encouraged by my new book, Imperfect Parenting. You can find it at imperfectparenting.co.
I mean, just thinking about even our own household and scenarios or friends we have, what feels like a consistent or common boundary in this area?
Well, it's you can have 20 minutes of iPad time. Why can I have my 20 minutes while I eat breakfast? But what you notice is that they don't really finish their food, because then it gets cold and they don't want to eat it, or it gets mushy and they don't want to eat it. So boundary is no, but then this child's used to, I would say the ones I've encountered is that they throw a fit and then they say, I'm going to take away your iPad time. But it's an interesting thing, the iPad for younger kids that I've seen like that. We'll say 2. Some people use 2 to 4. That it's like this addictive response that if they don't get it, it's different than we're not going to get a treat at the store. I don't know. They have developed a different need for it. So I would be encouraging parents to minimize how we utilize this and encourage your kid to find other ways of stimulating boredness that's happening. But I think that's part that parents are navigating right now. That again, we didn't have to do as much when they were that little, but it's become this. Some kids, it's a full on crazy meltdown when they don't get this. And I would say, if your kid's doing that and you're giving in, well, they're going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
That's the part of consistency is key, because if you don't show consistency, they will just get bigger and bigger and bigger eruptions.
Yep.
And that is that just gives them permission to keep going.
Because like anything that they think they deserve or want, they're going to challenge you on it.
Absolutely.
They're going to challenge your decision. They're going to challenge your boundary, because at some level they should. I think that's what we do. We push the line and we challenge it. But if I hit that line and go, oh, you mean this? That's real. That's gonna help me actually adjust. But if I hit that and you adjust, you move, the boundaries is moving line, which was very much our early years of parenting, and I can feel that thing often, even today. When I have moments with the kids, I can feel the opportunity to adjust my boundary just to appease you. I'm like, Benjamin, stay strong. Because I know what it creates.
Yeah.
I know the mess it actually creates for them and for us.
Yeah, and so, right now it's technology that gets the biggest fit, but before it was, I want to go play baseball, till it's dark, or I want to go to my friend's house but walk home and it's late, or whatever, it's a different thing we were navigating. It is really the power of your follow through and your consistency. So if that's not happening, the technology battle is just going to feel really loud, because it isn't. I mean, everybody. I don't know anyone that can say they don't have addictive tendencies to their phone or their device.
Right.
I'm making a very generalized statement. Most people have to change their phone, minimize what's going on because something happened. So we've just created this open door to our children. Well, I would be navigating that carefully, and really being consistent on all the other areas I can when it comes to boundaries. Whether it's you can have, like Lincoln last night. I mean, he's the king of this. He'll eat all his broccoli. Doesn't want to eat his chicken. Because I don't like the texture of it. I'm like, okay,
it's too dry.
Yeah, it's too stringy. It's too dry. It's too whatever. Smells weird. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. It changes. Half the time he's obsessed with it. I don't get it. I'm like, that's totally fine. But you can have, he wanted this Jell-O thing. I said, you can have Jell-O as soon as you've had 4 pieces of your chicken, because he had some of it. But I'm like, all right, we're still back in this. I'm assigning how many numbers of pieces of chicken you can have.
1. Yeah.
But my point is, whether it's your iPad or the dessert or Jell-O packet, my consistency in setting that boundary and my follow through, those all make momentum for the bigger things, is that I'm consistent in all the other things along the way. When we tackle technology, I would keep in mind that if you're not seeing the breakthrough around it and you're still having a lot of the battles, I would be looking at how consistent are you in some of the other areas.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just reminds me, I think for parents, we want to feel integrous, and our kids are paying such close attention to us.
Yes.
So I think the first part of this conversation really is just check yourself, because they are watching you. And if your time is spent on your phone more than even looking for creative ways to spend time with them, they're noticing. And it's so easy. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to give my time away to this little device because there's some new video or there's some email, some text I have to take care of. This is not new, and this conversation's out there all the time. It's just really easy to fall into that trap.
Yeah.
So I think paying attention.
And if you've got a kid, I would say Adeline loves technology and all that it gives her access to in fashion and influence. Like, this is something this girl, she's going to go places because she just wants to learn it.
Yep.
Where Delaney's not really interested in it. She's interested in those face-to-face places, not a global spread of people she'll never meet. Adeline, she's probably like, sure, if I can make you laugh and influence you. So it's even paying attention to how do I nurture that? How do I guide that? Because watching Adeline, the conversation is a lot around, how's your heart doing, trying to seek affirmation from someone or something.
Yes.
But I don't want to minimize what I think is probably going to be a fantastic tool for her to be successful. But I wanted to help her steward this gift that she's interested in, which is technology and different things there. So
Great example.
being intuitive to not being afraid of it, but leaning in with them and navigating it.
Yeah.
So, but we do have a question that's kind of around technology a bit. So it's a long one. So hang in there with me. I might paraphrase some of it because it is so long. Basically, it says, how do I give choices to a teen that doesn't accept simple requests for family-related things? For example, they say, hey, dinner's ready. And then he'll say, are you forcing me to eat with the family? But he spends most of his time isolated in his room. He uses the word force a lot. It sounds like we're trying to build connection, but he doesn't respond positively to our attempts. If we give him a choice in an area, he just says, so you're forcing me, storms off. We're stumped, and we have 7 kids. So we'd like to figure this out sooner than later. So what has been your theme of what you've said over and over again throughout these podcasts about connection?
It's the most important thing.
Yes.
It's the highest priority in the house.
It is the highest priority. And I would say this kid sounds pretty disconnected from the family. And
it's not his highest priority.
It is not. And it has been okay that he keep that and protect that. And so that's probably the thing I would be jumping after is he has gotten the message that it is okay for him to continue to protect. I don't care about this level of connection.
And my responsibility in this relationship. So I'm actually fine to stay over here and stay disconnected and protect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be leading with questions. Start with some questions because he sounds like he's a little defensive already. He already comes in with defense, and even your questions may create that at first. But you leaning in and the consistency again, we keep talking about that.
Yeah.
Staying consistent with, I'm not changing the subject. Our hearts being connected is the most important thing to me. So I'm pursuing you.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to you.
Yes.
And I'm looking for the window to go, oh, tell me more about that thing right there.
Yeah.
What's that right there that you just mentioned? Because that might be part of the problem that needs to be solved.
Yeah. And, whatever's going on in his room, there's likely something that he wants that access to more than he wants of the family. So video game, phone, computer. I highly doubt that it's just endless books. Could be, but I doubt that. So I would
There's those kids out there.
There are those kids. I mean, I don't know. I don't know very many of them. They're a rare breed, and congratulations.
Well done.
But even then, let's say it is books. I would be communicating, hey, I'm not sure what you need, but I feel disconnected, which feels yucky and scary. And I want to feel connected to your heart. And I want you to feel connected to this family. So I would love some adjustment in your engagement with us. I'm going to give you a week to figure out some ideas that you can bring to us. And if none of those feel good, then Dad and I are going to be making some adjustments for you.
Yeah.
I love you. We value you. We want to hear what you need. We want to help you be successful, but we need a shift in our relationship.
Yeah. And on the other side of that week, one of the phrases we often use is feel free to as soon as.
Yeah.
So you can have this thing back. You can have access to that thing over there. It could be Wi-Fi. It could be computer or phone. As soon as you're willing to actually help protect the connection, because that's the most important thing.
And in the meantime, if you don't know your child's love language, definitely lean into that, figure out what that is, because you're going to need to do some major heavy lifting in the connection realm to boost this pull you're about to make, this withdrawal. And that's what I'd be leaning into because again, the culture's been set that whatever's in his room gets to be priority and the rest of the family does not. I know that they've got 7 kids and they're juggling a lot. But if this is something you actually want to change and shift in your culture, you're going to have to set your sights on it and chase it down.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part when we have a lot of kids or our lives are really full, is it such an inconvenience for us to have to put a pause or a harder boundary on something that is easy and effortless, because we don't want to stop those things, because those things make us feel good, those things make us feel successful. But if I truly say that this is my priority, I want this to change, I want to see something different for our family culture, I have to be willing to do the work.
And we had a short season with Delaney like this, and there was a season where we had some requirements that she wasn't very happy about.
Yeah.
But we remember the day and the moment when she switched from I feel like I have to now I'm choosing to.
Yeah.
And it just changed the environment in the home.
It did. And all of that came because we said, this is what we want for our family. And we went and fought for it.
That's it.
So.
All right.
Yep. Okay. Well.
Go get it, families.
Imperfect Parenting Podcast. This is it. Wrapping up our other month together.
Yeah.
Doing this together. You and I are here together. You look handsome.
There we go. Thank you. I was just going to wait.
There we go.
I was not going to compliment you again on this one. I already did this at the beginning.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
Welcome to whatever this is. Ben and Brittney.
Yep.
Goodbye.